Good morning and welcome to the Fast Chat. I am Rochelle Butler, Energy Manager with the San Joaquin Valley Clean Energy Organization. I hope everyone's doing well and staying healthy. I am super excited to be with you guys this morning. I'm super excited we've made it to November and we have another installment of the Fund It Fast Chat for you. Please remember that we bring you the Fund It Fast Chat each second Tuesday, and I hope this information will help you find ways to get your projects funded and even inspire ideas for new projects. Okay, so we're going to get going momentarily, but first we've got some housekeeping. Please keep in mind that all of your microphones have been muted upon joining the call. This is simply to minimize background noise. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to submit them using the chat box. In fact, I encourage you to do so at any point during the presentation if something comes to mind. I don't want to miss out on the opportunity to hear any of your questions or any thoughts you might have. I always save time at the end of the presentation to address those questions and comments. If you do submit a question and we are unable to answer it during the call, we may need to do some additional research to make sure our response is accurate for you, or we may just simply run out of time. No worries, keep an eye out for that follow-up email we always send out after the call. We will provide responses for any and all unanswered questions, a link to the recording of this presentation, as well as links to any other resources we discuss during the call. And with that, we are finally ready to jump in. So on-bill financing. Over the months with the Fund It Fast Chat, we've talked about on-bill financing on a couple of occasions. We keep coming back to it though for a number of different reasons. One of those reasons is there just really isn't a better deal out there. We've done the research. In fact, we've built an entire web series on this research to which you are now listening. Another reason is that the program continues to kind of change and evolve to better suit the needs of its customers. And so this is really important because you may have thought your options were limited the last time you considered on-bill financing, but that may not necessarily be the case now. So it's always worth taking another look. The final reason is we haven't really taken a look at on-bill financing from the perspective of how it fits into the project process. And so in the past, we focused more on the program itself and the specific terms and how to qualify. Now, I do acknowledge that some of us here on the call may already be familiar with the concept and the basics of OBF, so I'm not going to bore you with rehashing a lot of those details. But if there's anyone on the call that may not be as well versed, I invite you to listen to our pre-recorded Fast Chats on OBS. Our Fast Chat number 1, yes, our very first Fast Chat ever, which aired on May 9th in 2018. Also, we covered OBF again in February of 2019 with our Fast Chat number 8. The basics of the program haven't materially changed since this time, so this information is still accurate and relevant. I will also be sure to include links to those recordings in our follow-up email today, so no need to scramble to try to find it. We'll provide it for you. So who offers OBF? Well, all of the utilities in our service territory offer it. I'm going to go ahead and go through very briefly the OBF program for these utilities and hopefully give you some tools as well as key features for each of them. My goal by the end of this call is for you to come away with some additional avenues through which you can use the program and kind of expand your thoughts on its applications. Okay, so first I'm going to talk about Southern California Edison and PG&E. I'm going to talk about them together in the interest of time, but also because their OBF programs are mostly similar in all of the ways that count. So all Southern California Edison and PG&E business customers, also known as non-residential customers, are eligible for the OBF program. Today, we're going to focus on the government and institutional customers, since that's who all of our partners are. So you can get a loan of up to $1 million. $1 million per project that's installed on a single meter. That also commonly referred to, they commonly refer to it as a meter or a service agreement or an SA. That, for our purposes, those all mean about the same thing. Under certain circumstances, and if certain criteria are met, it makes sense to combine multiple service agreements under one loan. An example of this is if your project on one meter doesn't meet the minimum $5,000 requirement, or it could just be that it's simpler for the customer to make payments if it's one payment all on one meter or one service agreement. So those things are all possible. In some cases, and always on a case-by-case basis, Southern California Edison and PG&E can approve loans of up to $4 million. So if it's a really super good project and the numbers look good, the exceptions can be made to the original threshold. The term limit for OBF is up to 10 years. And the last item I want to point out here is that OBF can be used for expenses that support measure installation. What do I mean by that? We all know that when we execute a project, the measures are not the only expenses that are incurred. For example, your facility might require some sort of upgrade to support that measure, or bring things up to code, or there may be an installation expense that's incurred by the contractor. All of these items can be wrapped up in your on-bill financing loan. Okay, the OBF loan process always begins with an incentive or a rebate program, and always, I can't stress that enough, before any equipment has been purchased or installed. So here's a list of programs that are offered by Southern California Edison and PG&E, all of which can be utilized in conjunction or in partnership with OBF. Also, I've kind of listed them side by side here because for the most part, they're very similar programs between the two utilities. They just go by slightly different names. At the top of the list, you have what I like to think of as purchase-driven solutions, where you, as the customer, purchase equipment and then submit an application for the rebate. I want to point out one more thing, too, about the second item down from the top of the list. The MPOP program, or the Midstream Point of Purchase program, works a little bit differently in that the sales price is already reduced by the amount of the incentive. So this is actually done on the seller's part, so there's no need to submit an application for these particular measures to get the rebate, that is. In order to take advantage of OBF through either of these avenues, you must submit an OBF application before you do anything. So, and a Southern California Edison or PG&E rep can assist you with that process. Alternatively, you can reach out to one of the SJV CEO teams. We're more than happy to take on that extra work for you and work with the representatives on your behalf to get those things filled out and submitted. Moving along, the bulk of these programs on the list are what I like to think of as turnkey program opportunities that are offered by Southern California Edison and PG&E. We don't have enough time to go through all of the programs in detail, but please take a look at these opportunities. If you have a project that needs to be completed at one of your facilities, chances are there's a program that can address it. Also, once I go through, I'm going to go through one of the, once I go through the program process with OBF, the rest will kind of follow suit, so you'll get an idea how it works. So for our program example this morning, I'd like to take a look at the Public Sector Performance-Based Retrofit Program. Say that 5 times fast. You may also have heard of this program referred to as the Commercial Whole Building Program. And I chose this program as an example for a couple of different reasons. The primary reason is because I think it's a really great comprehensive program. And also, we did a fast chat on this program in July of last year. That would have been fast chat number 13. So I'll also include a link for you as well to that fast chat in the follow-up email. So this particular program offers a holistic look at building retrofit. A qualifying facility would receive an in-depth energy audit, an energy use analysis by a utility service representative and a contractor. They're going to look for measure opportunities such as lighting, HVAC, boilers, demand control ventilation, steam traps, and other EE measure opportunities that have a rebate or an incentive attached to them. There is no upfront cost to the customer for this audit. Once the project is approved and installation is complete, the savings are monitored and verified at the meter. This is especially great because your project is monitored over a period of time to ensure that the savings that were estimated during the initial drafting of the project are verified. Also, if the savings are off track, the contractor will work with you to make adjustments to ensure your return on investment. So it really is, for this program, it's in everybody's best interest that you meet your savings goals. Also, as I explained earlier, the customer is not charged for any of the initial assessment. The idea is for you to do the project. However, once the project is committed to by you, the customer, all costs for installation of the energy savings measures can be wrapped up in an OBF loan. So it really takes a lot of the guesswork out of the equation. The idea is to look at these programs as a package deal, seamlessly including the financing. Since I mentioned earlier that OBF always starts with a qualified measure or program, I want to take a quick look at the measures themselves. Here on your screen, I have an abbreviated list of measures that have incentives and rebates by PG&E and or Southern California Edison. I've indicated an X on the left-hand side of your screen to show you which utility offers which measures. In some places, they do overlap where both utilities offer it. Of course, there are a lot more measures than what I've listed here, but I wanted to hyper focus on measures that I think would be most applicable to our partners. I also want to make the point that if any equipment whatsoever is replaced at your facilities or is going to be replaced, please check the rebate list before you make any purchases. I cannot stress this enough. If you don't have time to check or you don't understand how the measure lists work, please contact us. We'll work with the utility representatives to match your equipment with something that's eligible on the rebate list. If you wait until after the equipment is purchased, sometimes it can be too late. For example, and I've seen this occur on more occasions than I would like to admit, a customer purchases equipment and due to some small technicality, it does not qualify for a rebate. And in these cases, there was equipment that would have worked perfectly for the customer that's also eligible for the rebate. So this is probably one of the more frustrating things we encounter in our work. Additionally, OBF can also be used for equipment that you purchase on your own. So the way that this works is you submit your OBF application first before any steps are taken to procure the equipment. Upon approval, you'll receive a loan reservation/approval letter. This letter can be presented to a PG&E or Southern California Edison approved vendor, and the purchase of the equipment can be financed through OBF. Many of the equipment items can be very, very expensive. And if you can finance it using a 0% interest loan, the money is actually worth more to you in your pocket. I explain a lot more about why that is in our previous Fast Chat on OBF, so I encourage you to check it out. Now I'd like to move along to our natural gas only commodity service provider, Southern California Gas Company. First, all business and institutional customers, again, the same as with PG&E and SCE, they're all eligible to participate in OBF. Institutional customers include cities, counties, and schools. They can qualify for up to $250,000 per service agreement or meter, and for loans up to 10 to 15 years. The caveat there is the loan terms are generally 10 years unless, say, for example, you have equipment that has a longer expected useful life. So in some cases, the loan terms can be up to 15 years. Southern California Gas Company's OBF program also covers expenses that support the installation of the energy efficiency measures. So much like in all of those ways, it's very similar to PG&E and SoCal Edison. Now here, these programs do look a little bit different. Here's a list of SoCal Gas programs or program offers through which you can get incentives and rebates. Again, this is not an exhaustive list. There are many other opportunities out there, a lot of which operate in partnership with SoCal Edison programs because they share a lot of territory. So this is just to ensure that you receive seamless programs from the two utilities. Falling in line with Southern California Edison and PG&E, I want to point out the retro commissioning program. So it's a lot like the public sector performance-based retrofit program, only the real difference is that the retro commissioning program does not do metered savings verification. And I imagine this is mostly due to the difference in the way we measure natural gas versus how we measure electricity at the meter. Again, this is one of many ways you can get an in-depth audit, a detailed measure recommendations, and tie all of that into the financing seamlessly with no upfront cost to you, the customer. Lastly, we'll take a quick peek, I'm getting tongue-tied here, a quick peek at Southern California Gas's measured rebate list. Again, this is not an exhaustive list, but I want to stress that if you're replacing any of these items, or if it is reasonably likely they will need to be replaced in the future, please reach out to us now. Also, one tiny note on the measures, I would like to place an emphasis on steam traps and pipe insulation on this list. These are items that we generally neglect, but they have a lot of times have a really amazing opportunity for energy savings, and their return on investment is awesome. So it's always worth taking a look at these items. I've very recently heard about some really great projects that involving the pipe insulation and steam traps. Some of our customers are taking advantage of this time that some of our facilities are closed down, so they're able to replace some of these items with minimal disturbance in operation. So some other things to think about. All right, and that wraps up the presentation that I have for you all this morning. I'm going to pause here for just a quick second to give anyone an opportunity to submit questions or comments they may have in the chat box if you haven't already done so. While you're working on submitting those questions, I just want to remind everyone to please look out for our follow-up email later on today. I know I've mentioned it a few times already, but that email has some pretty awesome information in it. It will include a link to the recording of this presentation, It also includes links to all of the resources I mentioned during the call, including the past fast chats that were relevant to today's conversation. As a reminder, please take a quick second to add us to your email contacts list. We want to be sure you're receiving our communications so you can stay up to date on what's going on. That email is info@sjvcleanenergy.org. And now I'll take a quick peek at the chat box and see if anyone has submitted questions. Okay, I don't see any questions popping up in the chat box, so I'll go ahead and close this out. I encourage everyone listening to please share the fast chat with your friends and your colleagues. You never know who might benefit from this information, or even how this information might inspire new ideas for new projects. Our next fast chat is on the calendar for December 8th at 10 a.m. and we'll be announcing that topic very soon. As always, we appreciate you for being with us this morning. We also invite you to connect with the SJV CEO on social media. We are on Instagram, Twitter, and Spotify. You can connect with us the old-fashioned way through email or on our website. You can also get valuable information through one of our many platforms. Of course, the Funded Fast Chat is one, but we also have our blog, EE, where we feature articles on what's going on around the partnership, workforce development, as well as technology in the energy efficiency space. Finally, our newly launched Pod EE, which features the audio version of many of our articles we publish. We'll have some really exciting updates on that very, very soon. Above everything, our sole purpose is to connect you with resources that will help you get your projects done. In the meantime, if you would like to listen to any of our past fast chats, you can find them at sjvcleanenergy.org. Again, that is sjvcleanenergy.org under the resources heading. I hope everybody has an awesome week, and I hope you all stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.